y bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente de esa mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Dieguito, not with us today. Will the Thrill, not with us today, but did confirm he will be back at next Tuesday. He was in San Francisco. I think he still is in San Francisco. Regardless, we come on here each and every single morning, with or without our boys, dead or alive, and we properly salute them and each and every single one of you. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. Remember this, folks. When we are juiceful, we are useful, and when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the first day of August 2024. So, very interesting. Last night, I had a video sent to me, really super cool, from Mike Crudelli, great friend of the program, and it was Dwayne Kuiper talking about his favorite moments from the Babe Ruth series, because this is it. It's over. And stuff like that, I don't think really resonates too much. Where you're like, okay, there's changes here, changes there. The A's want to sack. And it starts to hit home a little bit when you potentially, like, this is it. This is over. I think things will change when the A's do move to Sacramento and then eventually Vegas, allegedly. But regardless, it was Logan Webb last night fucking dealing. And it's good because he's been struggling. He goes CG, Shuddy, a rare combo in the game today, just for the fact that dudes just don't throw that many pitches. Well, he was masterful last night. I believe he struck out 6. The thing that really got me, though, was the A's, even with the loss, finished 15-8 for the month of July. The best in all of the American League. It's fucking crazy to think about. We basically give them so much shit. And I said it the other night when we were on Deuces Wild. They have dudes. They just don't have enough of them. And they do a really good job of stockpiling guys with tremendous talent, whether it's Phil Nevin's kid, Mike Cameron's kid. Both of those guys haven't reached their potential in the big leagues, but yet these guys are dudes that certainly do have an incredible amount of ability. And then obviously what Brent Rooker's doing is speaking for itself. He's having an incredible year, probably the most undercover year of anybody in all of baseball. So let's give a certain round of applause for the Oakland A's finishing the month of July with the best record in all of the American League. Okay, let's just hit up a few stories here. Starting in the Olympics in Paris. The Olympian, who is 61 years old and destroying athletes half her age. This is fascinating, obviously. It says that she unzipped her jacket, adjusted her knee strap, and began stretching for her first table tennis match of this Olympics. An odd sensation came over the most unlikely player in the world. Suddenly, Ni Xia Lian felt nervous. It was strange because Ni, a former world champion, had seen this all before. The bright lights of the international competition, the Olympic rings painted on the net, and the Russia's crowd ready to erupt for her. But this time she felt the full weight of a nation in her shoulders, and she knew that she would need to summon all of her experience to settle into the match. As it turns out, she had more of that than anyone in the building. That's because Ni, the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg table tennis is 61 fucking years old. This is incredible. There are other I don't even know how to say this. Sexagenarians at the that means a sexagenarian means you're 60 plus. Okay. Sexagenarians. What a whacked out word. There are other sexagenarians at the Paris Games, but the only athletes older than Ni compete in equestrian, which means she is the oldest Olympian here who doesn't ride a horse. When she made her international debut in 1979, almost nobody in this year's Olympic field was even born. Ni won her first world championship in 1983. Her first round opponent here was born in 1993, which makes her younger than Ni's son. Quote, I'm a table tennis grandma, says Ni, who is also a 6-time Olympian. I'm not a grandma yet. I'm waiting. She retired and unretired before Michael Jordan. Then she did it again. In fact, she was in her prime before table tennis was even an Olympic sport. These days, Olympians half her age say they can't quite believe that Ni is still here. It's absolutely mind-boggling, says American table tennis star Lili Zhang. But to Ni, it makes perfect sense. Quote, I have double the age, she says, and double the experience. This is just a really cool story. So she has gone out there and absolutely freaking dominated. It's one of those things where there was an article that came out recently talking about the longevity of life and its correlation to racket sports. Well, it was Dr. Amen, I believe, who's good friends of the Gloss family. And he was saying that you're essentially triggering these reflexes and neurons, everything else, and that table tennis, above all, even pickleball or tennis, was the number one racket sport. So if there is any motivation to continue to play table tennis, ping pong, as we like to call it here in the United States, look no further, because you could be an Olympian even if you happen to be pushing the age of 70. All right, from there, let's get into the biggest upset in Paris thus far, and this just happened. And of course, we are going to continue on the table tennis train. The world's best table tennis player was crushing the Olympics. He got his paddle crushed. And it went all downhill from there. China's Wang Chaqing was a gold medal favorite in 3 table tennis events, but after a photographer accidentally stepped on his paddle, he was on the losing end of the biggest upset at the Paris Games. It was a perfect start to the Olympics for the world's best table tennis player after years of toiling in China's grueling training program. Wang Chaqing finally won a gold medal in mixed doubles, the first of 3 events he was expected to dominate in Paris. But before the celebration was even over, his triple medal prospects changed in a flash. A photographer accidentally stepped on his paddle. Elation turned to fury. Wang shouted at the photographers. A coach physically restrained him. Quote, I lost control of my emotions a little, he said. Shortly afterward, I believe I'll still be able to play well with my backup paddle. Less than 24 hours later, it turned out Wang was wrong. In the marquee men's single tournament, the world's number 1 with paddle number 2 was on the losing end of one of the biggest upsets in Olympic table tennis history. In the round of 32, the top-seeded Wang dropped the first 2 sets to number 19, Truls Morgard of Sweden. He battled back, even it up before dropping the last 2 sets in the best of 7 match. Shocking. The Asian nation that has absolutely dominated its national pastime on the global stage. Okay, dude, you're telling me you don't have a backup paddle ready to go? I mean, we have fucking tennis players that show up with 9 rackets. Why would ping pong be any different? I'm going to go to the court today and play pickleball with 4 rackets. I got 4 of them. 4. So for me to sit here and bitch, I don't even know what my number one racket is. I don't. I'll reach into my bag and just grab one. That's a weak ass excuse. It really is. And hey, you got to control your emotions. You have to. Can't be just all over these photographers. I mean, get your paddle out of the fucking way. That's on him. So sorry, Wang. You fucked up. Hey, it sucks. Sometimes it happens. But you got to be able to get over it. Okay, here potentially could be one of the biggest stories yet coming out of Paris as well. Olympic boxer deemed to have male chromosomes wins a fight in 46 seconds. Her opponent left in tears after hard hits. An Algerian boxer was deemed to have male chromosomes, won a fight in the 66 kilogram women's division at the Paris Olympics on Thursday. Iman Khalif defeated Italy's Angela Carini after Carini abandoned her match. The fight lasted all of 46 seconds before Carini went to her cornermen to call off the fight. Khalif celebrated the win while Carini was left in tears. After the fight, Carini was heard yelling to hear coaches in Italian questioning the fairness of the bout. She then broke her silence on why she abandoned the match. Quote, "I got into the ring to fight," she said via Italy's ANSA. "I didn't give up, but one punch hurt too much, so I said, enough is enough. I'm going out with my head held high." Carini's coach, Emmanuel Rizzini, said that quitting the match wasn't a part of the plan ahead of time. Quote, "It would have been easier not to show up because all of Italy had been asking her not to fight for days," Rizzini said. But Angela was motivated and wanted to do so. Quote, "Of course, when she met her opponent at the draw, she said, 'It's not fair.' But there was no premeditation here today. She quit after taking one punch. She told me she didn't feel she could fight." Khalif fought under a firestorm of controversy regarding a failed gender eligibility test. Okay, this is interesting. Khalif was disqualified during the 2023 World Championship sanctioned by the International Boxing Association. The organization said Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting failed to meet gender eligibility standards. IBA President Umar Kremlin explained the decision at the time, according to Russia's TASS news agency. Reuters reported at the time that Khalif tested positive for having high levels of testosterone. Based on DNA tests, we identified a number of athletes who tried to trick their colleagues into posing as women. According to the results of the test, it was proved that they have XY chromosomes. Such athletes were excluded from competition, Kremlin said. Khalif and the Algerian Olympic Committee both denied the claims. The International Olympic Committee also cleared Khalif to compete in the games. Quote, "Everyone competing in the women's category is complying with the competition eligibility rules," IOC spokesman Mark Adams said. "They are women in their passports, and it's stated that this is the case, that they are female." The COA called the claims baseless. COA strongly condemns the unethical targeting and maligning of our esteemed athlete Amin Khalif with baseless propaganda from certain foreign media outlets, the committee said Wednesday via Reuters. Such attacks on her personality and dignity are deeply unfair, especially as she prepares for the pinnacle of her career at the Olympics. The COA has taken all necessary measures to protect our champion. Italy's ANSA quoted Rosario Coco, the president of GayNet Communications in Italy, as saying that he learned Khalif was intersex and not transgender. In contrast to the reports that have been circulating, the Algerian athlete Iman Khalif is not a trans woman, Coco told the news agency. "From the information we have about her, she is an intersex person who has always socialized as a woman and has a sporting history in women's competition." Okay, I'll let you guys be the judge. There he is. If it looks like a dude and it's got XY chromosomes, it's probably a fucking dude. So, what do we do about it? That's tough because I don't know the science behind it. And intersex really different than trans. Trans, no chance. Now, it almost makes me feel like intersex, which is meaning that, look, you have an extraordinary amount of extra testosterone that would make it an unfair competition between a woman and an intersex person. Use the fucking best judgment possible here if you're the IOC. And obviously, the World Boxing Federation, who had banned her, him, whatever earlier, they did it for a reason. Well, it's pretty simple. If you resemble more of a dude and you're dealing with testosterone levels that are extremely elevated, you're probably a fucking dude. Now, there's other ways, I guess, you could find out. And I don't know what sort of organs that she is possessing. We have to stop trying to put males or even intersex people going up against women. It's just not fair. That's it. I think when we look at this, ultimately what we all want, whether we're male or female or intersex or trans, I want a fair fucking competition. That's not a fair competition. You're putting this intersex person who has extreme male characteristics in there with a fucking woman. It's just bullshit. Think about that. It's not right. So I'd like to believe that we could use our best judgment going forward here. And there has to be a way to measure testosterone levels. Let's just start with that. And if your testosterone levels are elevated above a certain amount, that's it. You're done. You can go fight with the males. Or if the IOC wants to create an entire intersex division, you guys do you. I'm okay with that too. But it's proven that there's no way this is fair. It's just fucking not. And that's bullshit. So I am with Italy in this one. It's, you know, you gotta feel bad for him, her a little bit. I mean, I get it. I understand because she wants to box. But if you want to box, I mean, go box someone with the same fucking XY chromosomes that you got. Anyway. All right. Onward and upward. We got this is a fun one. The 5 sports that the U.S. has never medaled in. See if you guys can get this. Ready for this? Here they are. I'll just run them out there. The 5 Olympic sports that the U.S. has never medaled in. Number 1, badminton. 329 medal events, 32 sports, endless drama, catch all the action in the Paris Olympics. Okay, whatever. All right, let's try this again. Badminton is number 1. The U.S. has had a tough time even advancing within the 5 badminton tournaments at the Olympics. Men's and women's singles and doubles have been full medal since 1992, while mixed doubles entered in 1996 and 8 Olympics. With the sport of all, the U.S. has only reached the quarterfinals of any tournament one time, and the men's double team of Howard Bach and Bob Melathong reached the round of 8 in 2008 in Beijing. But Baiwen Zhang got 2 wins in the women's singles in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics before falling to the round of 16. Timothy Lam and brothers Philip Chu and Ryan Chu went winless on the men's side. All right, the other sport the U.S. has never medaled in, handball. The U.S. has not even qualified for the men's and women's Olympic handball tournament since 1996, when it was a host nation in the Atlanta Games. The men's squad has participated in the Olympics tournament 6 times, with its highest finish being 6th place back in 1936. What the fuck? I mean, did we all play handball out of recess when we were kids? No, it doesn't make sense. The next one, rhythmic gymnastics. Rhythmic gymnastics made its Olympic debut as an individual event in 1984 and added a team event in 1996. Europe has completely dominated the sport since the beginning, with China, Canada, and Israel as the only three countries from other continents to claim a medal across 10 Olympics. The United States' highest finish in the event is 11th. The next sport the U.S. has ever medaled in, table tennis. I mean, what the fuck? Seriously? Who didn't grow up playing ping pong at some point, right? This one doesn't make sense to me. The U.S. has not won a medal in table tennis since it was introduced as an Olympic sport in 1988, despite being one of 16 countries to participate in the sport at each of the 10 Olympics. Chen Wang owns the best American finish in Olympic table tennis history after reaching the women's singles quarterfinals in Beijing. Wan Lu had the most successful run of any American table tennis player in Tokyo, according to the women's singles fourth round, advancing the women's singles fourth round as the number 68 seed. All right. I mean, that's got to end. I don't know what's going on, but we got to figure it out. Especially knowing the longevity numbers now on what racket sports do to your life. I don't care if we got to go get a fucking grandma like we have, earlier that we were talking about. We need somebody to represent the United States of America in table tennis. I mean, this could be my new obsession. Really, we can't just let China keep dominating like this. I got to believe, were we the creators of beer pong? Could that be a sport? Because I bet you if that was a sport, I mean, we go to the South and just grab any of the college students from the SEC schools and it's fucking on. It's an absolute travesty that we do not have an Olympic medal in ping pong. The last one here, trampoline. Trampoline will be making its 7th Olympic appearance during the Paris Games. 10 countries have combined to win 36 medals, dolled out since 2000, but the U.S. has not taken home any of them. Savannah Vincent and Nicole Aschinger had the best finishes of any Americans, placing 6th in 2012 and 2020, respectively. Once again, what the fuck? Trampoline? That's another staple in American backyards. Ping pong tables and trampolines. How we've never medaled in ping pong or trampoline is fucking beyond me. It's like we really need to figure this shit out. I don't know who's in charge, but you can't have that many Americans playing ping pong and jumping on trampolines and us not being able to go ahead and capitalize on that. We have the greatest athletes in the world, the greatest. This is all kind of making sense now because obviously in men's soccer, we're not very good either. How does every single athlete in basically American history at some point play fucking soccer, right? I mean, I would say 80% of the kids through their childhood are out there kicking a soccer ball. Yet we somehow lose all these athletes to other sports. Well, ping pong and trampoline are the same fucking thing. At some point, every kid's playing ping pong. Just about. At some point, every kid's bounced on a trampoline. But we lose them. We can't fucking lose them. We need organization. We need somebody to figure out how to collectively align these great athletes to do a few different things. Number one, I say play soccer. That's been a fucking disaster. And then the ping pong thing, let's start taking this shit serious. Trampoline? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, all right, I'm done with that. Padres went ahead, and this is actually wild. So they pull off the sweep of LA. And I read an article the other day saying how the Pods are chasing the Dodgers down. I'm like, dude, no fucking way. Like, this isn't happening. Well, guess what? It is happening. And with San Diego's trades, They might be the better baseball team at this point. It says a race is on in the National League West a day after the Padres walked off the Dodgers in dramatic fashion. The reinforcements arrived at Petco Park on Wednesday. For the first time, San Diego manager Mike Schilt, whom I have a lot of respect for, by the way, had the entirety of his new look, high-octane bullpen at his disposal. Best bullpen in baseball. Then the Padres made quick work of Clayton Kershaw, absolutely lit him up. The full force of the bullpen could wait for another night. This was a laugher, an 8-1 San Diego victory with the sweep of their 2-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Padres narrowed their deficit in the NL West to just 4.5 games, the smallest the gap has been since May 4th. They also clinched the season series over the Dodgers for the first time since 2010, which essentially narrows the gap even further because the Padres would own a potential tiebreaker. The division race everyone expected in 2023 might end up materializing a year later instead. Quote, our goals haven't changed at any point during the season, Padres manager Mike Schilt said. It's been to win the division. We know it's a tall order and a competitive division, so we're just going to go out here and keep taking care of our business. In an encore to his no-hitter, right-hander Dylan Cease worked 5 2/3 in a 1-run ball. Such is the nature of Cease's recent dominance that it qualified as perhaps his worst start in 4 weeks. Jason Hayward's second inning infield single snapped a string of 46 plate appearances by opposing hitters without a hit against Cease. Incredible. The idea of another no-hitter is very appealing. Definitely crossed my mind, Cease said with a smile. But at the end of the day, difficult to do. Cease ultimately surrendered 3 hits and 3 walks, along with his first run since July 7th. His command wasn't as sharp as it had been during a remarkable 3-start stretch in which he allowed only 2 hits. But he could be forgiven, having thrown a career-high 114 pitches to no-hit the Nats his last time out. Plus, it's not like the Padres needed Cease to be pinpoint on Thursday. They staked him to an early 4-run lead and then just kept tacking on. San Diego took advantage of 3 Dodgers errors, including Kershaw's misplay of Bryce Johnson's bunt in the second inning. That fueled a 4-run frame for the Pods. 2 innings later, they added 3 more, chasing Kershaw with 2 outs in the 4th. So, look, the Padres are for real. And still 4.5 games back, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I could see this coming down to the last week of the season. Their bullpen is the best in baseball. So you talk about putting together a winning team. If you look at the recent success of some of the best teams in baseball and the teams that make these postseason runs, they're the ones with extremely strong bullpens. So look the fuck out. All right. Jackson Holliday called back up to the big leagues, hits his first career home run, an absolute bomb onto Utah Street. Really cool moment. So awesome to see the fans in Baltimore go absolutely berserk for Holliday. This is a kid that got called up. He is obviously the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. Struggled mightily in the first call-up, went back to AAA, absolutely killed it, comes back up, and then ends up hitting a grand slam, his first big league homer. At just 20 years old, he becomes the youngest Baltimore Oriole to hit a grand slam. And just knowing what this kid has gone through and how difficult it must have been having to go back to AAA and then come back up and to have that success, it looked like he took good at bats, start to finish. I think that's what the O's were looking for. And this guy could be an absolute difference maker down the stretch. Really fun. It says the moment wasn't too big for Jackson Holliday. The 20-year-old has dreamt about delivering critical hits in baseball games since he was a toddler. And his disappointing debut stint in MLB didn't even come close to shattering his confidence. From the moment Holliday connected with this particular pitch on Wednesday afternoon, he knew his first big league home run, a massive grand slam, was about to be logged into the record books. Quote, that's about the best I can hit in baseball, the Orioles second baseman said, and son of 7-time All-Star outfielder Matt Holliday. That's about all I got. That's got to be cool for Matt, too, because you have to imagine that he felt the pain of Jackson in the first go around. It wasn't, I don't think anybody questioned him. It was just a matter of having to make a few adjustments. And one of the big things, if you guys watched in the way they attacked Jackson Holiday, was breaking ball after breaking ball after breaking ball after breaking ball. So you know what he was going to get. You know how he was going to get pitched. Well, guess what? He goes back to AAA, and how do they pitch him there? Breaking ball, breaking ball. So now it's on, right? Now it's a matter of just getting used to the way they're going to pitch you. Now it's going to become a cat and mouse game back and forth. But for him to be able to come up and do that right away, we'll keep monitoring his progression. But I think he has the potential to really help the O's, who, if I'm not mistaken, have the best record in all of. Actually, I do not know. We'll check out these standings right now, but not before we talk about the 5-year-old fan with big dreams, a return Holiday's home run ball. So it says after the 20-year-old Jackson Holiday became the youngest player in O's/Browns franchise history, hit a grand slam while doing it in his first MLB game, April 23rd to boot. His day wasn't done. His first MLB game since April 23rd. Geez, it was that long ago they sent him down, huh? The next mission, go track the ball down. I believe that some kid got a Holiday said after the game in reference to his first career home run ball. So hopefully I'll be able to get that back from him and maybe give him something in return. Fortunately, that wasn't so difficult. After the game, Holiday was able to track down the ball's recipient, a 5-year-old Maryland native named Wyatt Sartell, and his father, Tim. Wyatt gladly gave Holiday his home run ball, and in return, Holiday provided the youngster with a bat. Quote, I appreciate you guys being easy about it, Holiday told the father-son duo. If he ever gets the opportunity, I'd hope he gets his ball back just as a dad, Tim said, before turning to Wyatt. One day, if you get that chance, that'd be cool. Wyatt had only one question of his own for Holiday after thanking the rookie for meeting him. How did the Gatorade feel? Cold, Holiday said, without skipping a beat. And here's Holiday getting his Gatorade bath after. The O's, they're really easy to root for. Brandon Hyde's a Bay Area guy. He's a manager of the O's, obviously. This is one of those teams that they're in this dogfight with the New York Yankees. The Yankees all of a sudden turned on, they won 5 in a row. Everyone's panicking about the Yankees. Talked about this last week. It's fucking stupid. It's a 162 games season for a reason. And the Yankees went through a little bit of a culture. I mean, just the A's having the best record in July should tell you guys enough. That's why law of averages works out. It's why they play 162. That's why they shouldn't shorten the season. It takes a while to figure out who the best fucking team is. And when you go through the ultra marathon season, eventually you come out with the team on top. So, yeah, the Orioles are at 65-44. That's the second best record in the American League to the 65-62 Cleveland Guardians. And then you got the Phillies in the National League at 65-43. Mentioned the Dodgers earlier, they're 63-46. So taking a look at the entire playoff picture, it would be Cleveland, Baltimore, and Houston as the division leaders right now, with the Yankees, Twins, and Kansas City being the wild card teams in the American League. Boston would be 2 back of that last spot. In the National League, it's the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers, your division leaders, and then Atlanta, San Diego, and don't look now, but the Arizona fucking Diamondbacks, 7-3 in their last 10, won 3 in a row. They are back in the wild card spot, in that last spot. The New York Mets just a half game behind. St. Louis a game and a half behind. How about Pittsburgh hanging around 2.5 behind, and then San Francisco is 4.5 back. So they got to leapfrog a lot of teams. We'll see if that is able to happen. All right, Well, it shows that was one of them. Everyone have a fantastic day. I'm off to play some and biggity big Peninsula Mets this weekend. It's be fun to watch. It's a first travel ball team I ever played for, and now things kind of come full circle where kids going to go guest play for the weekend, and cousin John Gall, that is president of USA Baseball, will be out there coaching them. So it should be fun to watch. All right, have a fantastic day, and yep, try to get back at you tomorrow. Another DH. See ya.